Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. We'll be getting started in 3 minutes. Ooh.
I'm Jay McCoy, co-host of Kentucky Writers Roundtable, and you're listening to Media Lex Radio, WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Lexington Community Radio or its board of directors. The views expressed are solely those of the programmers.
You are listening to Off the Cuff. Now, here's your host, Adam Banks.
Welcome, everybody, to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show, and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening to us on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you could stream the show live from the station website at MediaLex.us to listen to us from anywhere in the entire world. I am broadcasting from the WLXU studios here at Media Lex on North Limestone. It is January the 29th, 2026. It seems like January is never going to end. We survived the snowstorm, though. The snow did fall as expected, and I have been stuck in the house since Saturday. This is my first time out of the house since Saturday. I was going crazy in the house. I don't know how people can stay in the house all day, but I experienced that this week because of the weather. The roads are still slick. please drive with caution. The snow is really not melting. It is so cold outside. Currently, it is 28 degrees. We were seeing temperatures earlier this week in the negatives, -3, -5. My power bill will be $1 million. But hopefully, I don't see any snow in the forecast, at least for Lexington. I see that Eastern Kentucky may be getting some over the weekend, but for the most part, we did survive the snow. Groundhog's Day is coming up very soon, and you know what that means. It's pretty much 6 weeks of bad weather from there. But after that, folks, we are on the uprise of spring. Basketball here in this state is very, very serious. We take our basketball very serious. Not only do we take college basketball serious, but we take, here in this state, we take high school basketball games serious, and we also take middle school and elementary games serious. Now, I don't know if you've been living under a rock or not, but has been a viral video going around that is of a fight that happened at a high school because of a middle school / elementary game. If you guys don't know this, I am from the county that happened in. I am from Knott County, Kentucky, and that is where this fight took place. It took place right after pretty much we got off the air last Thursday. It was last Thursday. They had a grade school championship game between Carr Creek and Emmelina. And I remember when I was going to school, I went to grade school at Beaver Creek Elementary. And I remember playing Emmelina. I remember playing Carr Creek. And those games were always intense. You say, Adam, a grade school basketball intense? Yes. Did you ever see fights at the games? Yes. I've seen parents march on the floor, cuss at refs, smack refs. I've seen coaches get into altercations with parents. People in that community are so involved in their kids' lives and in the sports that their kids plays, it gets really, really intense. So when I seen that another fight broke loose, I thought nothing of it. But thanks to the internet now, things go viral. And this video was recorded by Home TV. Hilarious. Not that people got into a fight, and not that anybody got hurt, but the commentating alone on the game is hilarious. It was a complete brawl. And I'm telling you, it did not shock me to see, because you have no idea how intense these grade school games can be back in Knott County. They really, really are. And it was nothing out of the ordinary from what I saw. But this video has went viral. Everybody has seen it. Everybody has been talking about it. And it's funny because it's something that I'm used to because I'm from the area. But thanks to the internet and the way things get around now, the world just picked up on it and ran with it. We're talking the New York Post picked it up. We're talking Shaquille O'Neal was talking about it, and Charles Barkley was talking about it on ESPN. Folks, it was hilarious. And the fight was involving adults. It was involving kids on the court. And there was a guy that also got tased at the game. And instead of me just talking about it, let me play the audio from that actual fight from the ball game. Now, this is what makes the fight the best. It's the announcers that make the fight what it is. Take a listen. You spell get with G-I-T back home. Get. Let me stop it there for just a second. That was Jamie Hughes that was saying that. Jamie Hughes is a commentator for a lot of the Knott County sports, and I just love the thick accents. I love it. It makes me miss home so bad. And you could tell he was real serious. He was real concerned with what was going on. And then the other commentator, his name was James Spradlin, and he got famous over the last 7 days because of his famous quote, "They just tased Ryan," because apparently there was a parent out there that was in a fight and wouldn't calm down, and he ended up getting tased. Okay, so my thing is, you can hear the taser going off in the background. You can hear the and the guy just fell right on his face onto the floor. And he said it so nonchalantly, they just tased Ryan like Ryan has been tased before. It happened on January the 22nd. It was the championship game. There was still some time left in the game. The score was 48-30 with Carr Creek leading Emelina. And since they stopped the game, I don't know if they crowned Carr Creek the county champions. I don't know if they just called it a draw because the game officially didn't end. There was no defined winner. But they did end the game early because of the fight. And I just love the commentating from the fight. Because I tell you though, they missed their boat with really calling the action the way I would have called it. I would have found my inner Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross, and I really would have embraced the action that was happening on the floor. But you know what? The fact that they stayed so concerned and they stayed so nonchalant actually made them go viral. So what do I know? I mean, I might have just been over the top and it might have not have went anywhere. But the fact that these announcers from back home were so nonchalant about it was absolutely hilarious. Like, what's Justin going to do? Who is Justin? Is he a cop? The AD? You can hear him throw his headset off. Jamie. It's got to get over. Oh man, they just tased Ryan. This ball game is over, and it was over. I've heard from the grapevine that Ryan was a very he was acting a little out of character for the most part. They said that he was a decent man. He doesn't cause any ruckus. He's relatively quiet. So from watching the video, from my perspective, I see that it might have been his wife that got into a confrontation with another man, and that's what kind of ticked Ryan off to the point to where he shoved the man that was talking to his wife, and then he was erratic, and the cops tased him, and he fell straight to the ground. But hilarious video. Getting tased is, I'm sure it doesn't feel good. I've never been tased. If you have a heart condition, I'm sure that is not safe. But I guess he was warned. And the guy who did it, Knott County Sheriff's Department, man, the whole video is something else. So folks, if you want to check out that video, it is all over YouTube. It is all over the internet. You can find it somewhere or another, but the announcing, the audio of the video is what makes it so great. I'm telling you, I've told people before how intense that grade school and high school basketball games are in Knott County. Now the whole world sees how intense and how aggressive even a grade school game can be back home. Folks, we do have a great show ahead of you today. You are listening to Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. Stick with us. We will be right back.
You are listening to MediaLex Radio, WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky.
MediaLex has the support of mission sponsor Red Mile. RedMileKY.com.
Do you want to make your organization greener but aren't sure how? Are you already a business practicing sustainable habits? GreenCheck is a free program that provides organizations with resources to become more sustainable. Businesses that become GreenCheck certified see real cost savings and earn a custom plaque to show the community you care about sustainability. GreenCheck is open to Fayette County organizations of all types and sizes. The deadline to apply is January 31st. Learn more at lexingtonky.gov/greencheck.
Media Lex appreciates the support of the Lextropolis, the digital magazine covering Lexington's urban beat, featuring local writers, community models, and minority businesses each month, serving Lexington and surrounding communities for over 10 years. To learn more, you can visit thelextropolis.com. For the people, by the people.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Just seeing my old high school gymnasium going around the world in a viral video is surreal. The little tucked away town in Knott County, Hyman, Kentucky, just to see that is something else. Folks, it is awards season. So many actors and movies and television stars are getting their recognition around this time of year. Even the music industry. The Grammys are coming up this weekend. I've got my own award show to go to this weekend in Los Angeles, California. I have been nominated by the World Entertainment Awards for Best Radio Show. I still haven't decided if I'm going to Los Angeles or not this weekend. I'm leaning towards no, because, hey, a man's got to work on Monday and I can't get snowed in LA. If there is going to be any little inkling of snow, I don't know if I can go. But that doesn't mean that I still don't want to win, and I still am not appreciative of the nomination. But it is award season. So many people are getting recognized, and especially the movie industry. We've got the Oscars coming up March 15th, the SAG Awards on March the 1st, the People's Choice Awards on February the 18th. So many movies to be celebrated. So many movies have existed throughout time. And I love movies. Movies are a part of life. Movies can be so relatable. Movies can tell a story that connects us all. Sometimes movies can put things out there in ways that we never thought of things. They give us a perspective. Everybody's got a favorite movie. Not everybody might be a movie watcher where they watch a ton of movies, but everybody's got a favorite movie or a movie that they like to see. And because of all of the different thousands and thousands and thousands of movies that have existed throughout time, folks, there are so many iconic movie quotes that have existed. Now, I just come in to the Dirty Dancing song. You know, Big Girls Don't Cry. This was on the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. And everybody knows the iconic movie quote from that movie, "Nobody puts baby in a corner." And you can instantly recognize a movie quote, and you can usually tell where the quote comes from, what movie that quote comes from. And that's just the power of movies. That's how enthralled movies are to people. People can instantly recognize movie quotes. Movies, they just have a way of giving us lines that we never forget. The kind that live rent-free in our heads long after the credits roll. So today, what I would like to do, since it is award season and movies are in the forefront of everybody's mind across pop culture, I would like to take a trip through some of the most recognizable movie quotes of all time. You might not even need to hear the movie's name to recognize where or to recognize the quote. So just a few words and the scene instantly comes rushing in when you hear the particular movie quotes. These quotes that I have put on the list, I feel like are the most iconic movie quotes of all time. Now, it is impossible to list out all of the different movie quotes that have existed. There's thousands of movies, which means there's probably millions of movie quotes. So what I have done is I have narrowed it down to some of the most iconic movie quotes of all time. And folks, now what I'll do is I'll play the movie quote, and I just want you to see for yourself if you can recognize where the movie come from. But I guarantee you, these ones that I put on the list, you might not know where the movie came from. You might not know that particular scene, but you have definitely heard the movie quote before. So here is our first one of one of the most iconic movie quotes of all time. Take a listen. You Can't Handle the Truth, baby. That was from A Few Good Men back in 1992 with a scene with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. You want the truth? No, you can't handle the truth. Here's another iconic quote from a movie that I'm sure everybody will recognize. Say hello to my little friend. That was from the movie Scarface when Al Pacino famously played Tony Montana. That was back in 1983. And how many people do you hear just use that in today's culture? Say hello to my little friend. One of the most iconic quotes ever from a movie. Now here is another one, and this is probably the oldest movie quote that we have on the list. And this is actually considered one of the best movies of all time. I disagree. It was way too long. It was like a 6-hour movie. But see if you recognize where this come from. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. That was from Gone with the Wind. And it was said by Rhett Butler, who, that was his character in the movie, but his real name, Clark Gable. It's one of the boldest closing lines in film history. It's shocking when you first hear it, but it's very unforgettable, the fact that he said it. And I loved it. The fact that this woman was begging, what will I ever do without you if you walk out of my life? And he just looks at her and says, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. And you still hear people say that today. That's what makes a good, iconic quote from a movie. When people can just use that quote in just a different situation, not even having to quote the movie, just using it in life. That's how you know a quote from a movie is iconic. Now, here is another famous movie quote. Wizard of Oz has got a ton of movie quotes. That's one of them. Anytime somebody goes to a bizarre place or a place that is really out of their comfort zone or is different than where they usually are, people will sometimes say, Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. I remember when I first seen Times Square in New York City, that's the first thing I said. I said, I have a feeling I'm not in Kansas anymore. But Wizard of Oz not only has that, but they also have this iconic movie quote. There's no place like home. Wizard of Oz may be one of the best movies ever created. It actually lost Best Picture at the Oscars to Gone with the Wind. They were in the same category, and Gone with the Wind won the Oscar. It was a travesty that The Wizard of Oz never won Best Picture, because only time will tell how a picture will do all these years later. And I feel like that more people know The Wizard of Oz than they do Gone with the Wind. And one of the things that made The Wizard of Oz so great was the iconic movie quotes that come from that movie. Here is another famous movie quote. I would say it is safe to say that everybody has heard this one a time or two. You never know what you're going to get. And what's that one thing when people, it's called something. When your whole life you feel like that a quote was said a certain way or something looked a certain color or spelled a certain way, but you find out you've been calling it wrong your entire life. I forgot what that's called. But a lot of people used to think that what Forrest said was, my mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. And he actually says life is like a box of chocolates. And that was from Tom Hanks's Forrest Gump film. A very, very iconic quote. Here's another one, and this one is from a scary movie. I see dead people. Just that simple little quote right there from Haley Joel Osment. I see dead people. People know where that come from. It come from The Sixth Sense. All right, here is another iconic movie quote. Let's see if you recognize this one. This one, again, is something that a lot of people say, not even referencing the movie. They just say it all of the time. I'll be back by the Terminator. How many times do you hear people say, I'll be back? Well, it come from the Terminator. That's where it come from. All right, here is another movie quote that people also like to ingrain in conversation. Let's see if you recognize where this come from. Houston, we have a problem. How many times do you hear people say that when there is an issue going on? They always say, Houston, we've got a problem. That come from, where did that come from? That come from, Apollo 13. Yes, from 1995. It was said by Tom Hanks. So think about this. Tom Hanks has 2 lines from a movie that will forever live in infamy. My mama always said life is like a box of chocolates, and Houston, we have a problem. Okay, this is another scary movie iconic quote from a movie. Let's see if you recognize this one. Here's Johnny, said by Jack Nicholson from The Shining. That was kind of a play. He was making fun of Johnny Carson's Tonight Show when he popped his head in the door and he said, here's Johnny. And if you watch that scene, it's terrifying because he is smashing the door in with an axe to kill his ex-wife. And as he's chasing her up the stairs, he's telling her, he was like, hey, you don't have to be afraid. All I'm going to do is bash your effing brains in. And just the fact that he says that is terrifying. Jack Nicholson, folks, he can play it all. He can play in a love story. He can play a gangster. He can play a comedian. The guy is a well-rounded actor. So it makes sense that something he says somewhere along the lines is going to go down as being an iconic movie quote from a movie. Okay, here is another one. Show me the money. That was from Jerry Maguire. If you didn't know that that's where that come from a movie, it certainly did. Show me the money come from a movie, and it was from the Jerry Maguire movie. That movie ended up winning Oscar. It won Cuba Gooding Jr. his first, and I believe only Oscar. Show me the money. Okay, let's see if you recognize this one. Another one from Forrest Gump, and I'm sure you know what I'm about to play. Run, Forrest, run. How many times have you heard people say that? Run, Forrest, run. Who said that? It wasn't Tom Hanks. It was Jenny who said that in the movie. Jenny said, run, Forrest, run. So people use that all of the time when they are referencing somebody running. Or when you want somebody to run or you see somebody running, you always hear them say, run, Forrest, run. Okay, another iconic movie quote also comes from The Terminator, and it's not, I'll be back, it is simply this. Hasta la vista, baby. And it wouldn't have worked had anybody else said it but Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. Okay, I started the segment off talking about Dirty Dancing, and I said one of the most iconic quotes of all time comes from that movie, and here it is. Nobody puts baby in a corner. And the context to that is she's sitting with her family and she's actually sitting in a corner at the table. And Patrick Swayze walks up to her parents and says, nobody puts baby in a corner. And most people will know. If I say nobody puts baby in a corner, everybody knows that comes from Dirty dancing. Okay, this is maybe one of the most popular movie quotes of all time. Take a listen. I'm the king of the world. That was said by Jack Dawson, played by Leonardo DiCaprio in the very famous Titanic movie. I am the king of the world. You hear that often expressed, and usually when people get in position, the way Leonardo DiCaprio was in that movie, where you're standing on a platform and you've got your arms spread, usually people say, I'm the king of the world, which might go down as one of the most famous movie quotes of all time. Now, this next one, folks, comes from The Sandlot, when the little boy says, you're killing me, Smalls, you're killing me. So if you ever hear somebody say, you're killing me, Smalls, it come from The Sandlot. You hear quotes all of the time, and sometimes you don't know where they come from. So maybe you're hearing things for the first time, you didn't realize that it come from a movie. And what's cool about this is you get to hear also the context of how it was said. You're killing me, Smalls came from them discussing s'mores, because he didn't realize what a s'more was. He thought he was saying, do you want some more of something? But he was saying, do you want a s'more? Not do you want some more of something? Okay, there's always great quotes from The Wizard of Oz, and here's another great iconic movie quote. Hey, man, the witch from The Wizard of Oz, I don't think you can get more scary than that witch from The Wizard of Oz. When Mrs. Gulch turned into the witch for the first time, when they revealed that witch character, I think that was one of the most creepy reveals of a character that I ever seen in a movie. And since we're talking about Wizard of Oz, this is also another famous quote from that movie that everybody will instantly recognize. Hey, I'm telling you, that was a banger. If you think about it, that little beat that they had going on there, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, that is rap music today, pretty much. Oh my, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, lions and tigers and bears. Yes. All right, one more movie quote to end the list, folks, and this comes from everybody's favorite Christmas movie, Home Alone. And that, folks, is a good way to end this segment. That is some of the most iconic movie quotes of all time. And I wanted to do a movie segment because the Oscars coming up, all of the award shows happening right now, it made me start thinking of movies and so many great lines. Not lions, but lines. Here's my Knott County coming out, my lines. There's so many good lines coming out of movies that still are talked about and said today. All right, folks, we're going to take another quick break. Stick with us. You are listening to Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. We'll be right back.
This is AJ, host of The Playbook. You are listening to Media Lex Radio, WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky.
MediaLex is grateful to Founder Circle member Cy Pugh for their generous investment in our mission, a level of exceptional giving that reflects the spirit of our founder and community champion, Deborah Hensley.
This is Linda, the host of Proudly African. And I would like to invite you to listen to my show, Proudly African, where we talk about the beauty of Africa every Saturday at 1 p.m. on Media Lex Radio, WLXU 93.9 FM, Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah, that's a good one. May the odds be in your favor.
County seniors. Bluegrass
Oh,
Care
who said that,
Navigators
though,
of
Nikki?
Lexington want to help you stay safe and independent in your home. If you're 62 or older, you may qualify for free home upgrades such as grab bars, ramps, and non-slip flooring. It's installed by professionals and designed to reduce fall risks and improve mobility.
The
For
Godfather,
more,
maybe?
You can call 877-439-0262 or visit bgcarenav.org.
Media Lex thanks Bank of the Bluegrass and Trust Company for being an amplifier of the voice of the people. bankofthebluegrass.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. If you are a coffee drinker like myself, you may want to listen to this. More than 80,000 Keurig coffee pods have been recalled, according to the FDA. And I'm talking about the McCafe premium coffee from McDonald's. And I'm particularly talking about their premium roast decaf coffee K-Cups. The ones that you can buy at home or buy to take home and put in your own Keurig. The McCafe Premium Roast Decaf. More than 80,000 Keurig coffee pods have been recalled. Now, you may be somebody who drinks decaf. You may have some of these on your shelf at home. The best way to identify whether or not you have the tainted coffee cups is to look at the best buy date. They said if your coffee cups say November 17th, 2026, to throw them out. They're probably no good. Probably no good. There are some more things trending in America besides that. Folks, did you catch the man climbed the 101-story skyscraper in Taiwan? My hands and my feet were sweating during that. I cannot stand heights, and I can't even watch somebody else climb the building. I was just like everybody else that was watching that from home. It was a Netflix live special. He was doing it live on Netflix. It was live. It had a 10-second delay just in case he fell. But he climbed from the bottom of the ground to the top of the building. And what was amazing about that is he had no safety harness on. If he fell, he literally went splat on the ground. He made it. But there were people in the building as he was climbing each floor. And it was a glass building, so every time he got to a new floor, there was people there working. Some people were living there. Some people were just there to take pictures. And it was freaking me out because people were taking pictures. People were waving their hands at him. And it was scary because I was like, you're going to distract the man and he's going to fall. And then when he reaches the top, right before he reaches the actual tippy top, he hangs on by his legs only so he can take his hands and put them in his little pouch so he could powder up his hands to get a better grip. But in order for him to do that, he had to hang on to the building by his legs. By his legs. I don't like many photos on Facebook, but I liked his selfie when he was on the top of that skyscraper because I was like, hey man, hey, that is an accomplishment. I would never do it. But that was entertaining. I mean, there have been people before do wild stuff like that before. I've seen something crazier than that, believe it or not. There was a man back in the 70s or 80s. He tight-roped from one end of the Trade Center to the next. He put a tightrope from one of the buildings of the World Trade Center and stretched it all the way to another tower of the World Trade Center, obviously before they collapsed in 2001. This was back in the 70s, 80s. And he walked across the trade centers on a tightrope To me, that beats climbing a building. I'm not saying that is anything to scoff at, but the fact that this man tight-roped with no harness from one end of the Trade Center to another was unbelievable. And he would go back and forth, back and forth. He didn't just walk across it. He would walk across it and then walk back. And when the cops tried to grab him, you know what he would do? He would run from the cops on the line. He would run from the cops on the line. And instead of the cops just like safely waiting for him to get off, they were over here distracting him. They were yelling at him. They were trying to pull it. And I was like, guys, you're going to make the man fall. He's already going to be in trouble when he gets off the line. Just make sure he gets off the line safety. I don't think the cops at New York handled that very well when they were trying to talk the man off the wire. The man's already on the wire. You can't really talk the man off where he's going to fall 120 stories down. And he successfully made it. But I haven't seen anything that crazy until the other day on Netflix when they showed that man climbing that 101-story building. Alex Honnold was his name, and it was one of the biggest skyscrapers in Taiwan, or the biggest skyscraper in Taiwan. Some more things trending in America. Vanna White and John Donaldson are officially married. The reason that even makes news is because Vanna White and her long-term boyfriend dated for over a decade, and they finally didn't call it quits. They finally tied the knot. They married a few months ago, but they actually kept it secret and went public with it on Instagram. Vanna White is 68 years old, and she was seen wearing her white dress. It's weird when you see Vanna White wearing a white dress because usually she's in a very sparkly dress every day on television. So just to see her in an average wedding gown was something else. Some more things happening in America. Sydney Sweeney draped the famed Hollywood sign in Los Angeles with nothing but bras for a promotional stunt that unfolded without permission from the landmark owners. This actress started this new bra line for women, and to promote it, she broke into the Hollywood sign. She crossed the gate, what you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to cross that gate to the Hollywood sign. And she threw bras all over the Hollywood sign to promote her brand. They're saying that she probably is going to be facing charges from that. She is the 28-year-old star from Euphoria, and the fact that she did that, I mean, hey, took some guts to break the law like that, but there are consequences to that. And then finally, what's trending in America, and this is very unfortunate, a federal immigration officer shot and killed a man last Saturday in Minneapolis, drawing hundreds of protesters onto the frigid streets and ratcheting up tensions in a city already shaken by another fatal shooting a few weeks earlier. Yes, there was a man named Alex Preddy. He was a 37-year-old intensive care unit nurse who had protested President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown in his city, and when he was there, he was shot and killed. Now, I've watched the video, and I have watched the video from many different angles. To me, I haven't seen a clear video. I don't know videos today can be so manipulative with AI and with used to back in the day, people could say videotapes don't lie. Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do today. Thanks to AI, you can easily mark up a video and make people see what you want them to see. Regardless, it's a very sad situation that he lost his life over that. And Trump shared images of the gun that the immigration officials said that was recovered from the guy that was shot, and he tweeted out, "What is this all about? Where are the local police? Why weren't they allowed to protect ICE officers?" So the man was shot just over a mile from where an immigration and customs enforcement officer shot and killed a 37-year-old woman, Renee Good, on January 7th. And it has started a lot of debate and widespread protest. I had no idea that shooting took place just a mile down the road from where that first shooting took place. But a very sad situation nonetheless. And that is some things trending in America. Folks, it is now time for Off the Cuff to take its Song of the Week break. I love this one. It's by Benjamin Todd. It's called Wyoming. And I heard this song from my favorite TV show currently on the air, Landman. Enjoy the song and we will be back after it's over. Right. You know, Joe, I was thinking the same thing. There's a documentary about that story of the guy tightroping, and it's called Man on Wire. Man on Wire. Go look it up. It is crazy. And they did a movie about it, but it's actors playing the guy who did it. But if you actually want to watch the real footage of the guy climbing the rope, it's called Man on Wire. But the movie's good too. I thought the police did not do a good job handling that situation in New York with that guy crossing the rope. The last thing you want to do is scare the man to where he falls. You know, Nikki, I've never seen the Hunger Games. I've heard the quote before, but just never seen Hunger Games. Not really into that kind of stuff. I'm more of a horror movie fan. You know this. Off the Cuff with Adam Banks has been nominated for Best Radio Show at the Lexington Music Awards. It is the 12th annual Lexington Music Awards to be held on March the 8th, 2026. And it will be held at the Singletary Center in Lexington. I am up for Best Radio Show. Something is wrong with my microphone. There we go. Some type of fuzz going on. Whenever I move it, there's just like a little... There we go. But, folks, the voting is still available. The voting closes tomorrow, though. Tomorrow is the last day to vote. The public vote is only 25%, which bums me out just a tad, because the pro panel, who I have no ideas on, that's like worth 35% of the voting. And then it's peer voting, which is another 35%. Used to the voting for the Lexington Music Awards for the public, I know this is the first time the public can vote for the winner, but used to, it was a 100% public nominations voting. The public got to put you on as nominees, but now they changed their voting, and now the public and the pro panel nominate you, and now they let the public actually help choose the winners, but it's only worth 25%. But you know what, folks? I will take as many votes as I can get. So if you want to vote for Off the Cuff with Adam Banks for Best Music Company, that is the category that I am under, you can check that out on houndfm.com. That is HOUNDFM.com. houndfm.com, where you can vote for Off the Cuff with Adam Banks for Music Company of the Year. All right, folks, we still have one more segment to go. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
What should you do with your old electronics? Never place old electronics in your blue recycling. Instead, you should bring old electronics to the Electronics Recycling Center. String lights and other electronics can be recycled there throughout the year, 6 days a week. Just pull up in your car and place the items on the carts outside the door. This service is for Fayette County residents only. For more information, visit lexingtonky.gov/ewaste.
MediaLex is grateful to Founders Circle member Marilyn Daniel for their generous investment in our mission, a level of exceptional giving that reflects the spirit of our founder and community champion, Deborah Hensley.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Last segment of the hour. Today's national holiday is National Puzzle Day. I am a puzzle guy. I enjoy puzzles. It exercises your brain, it makes you think, and it relaxes you. I think puzzles are a great way to keep your mind working. So, if you're needing an excuse to sit down and do a puzzle, folks, start one today. No better day to do it than National Puzzle Day. The first puzzle was created in the 2300 BC era, before modern puzzles that we know today. Drawing puzzles were popular in ancient Egypt. People would draw them. Now, the first jigsaw puzzle was created in 1767 by mapmaker John Spilsbury. In 1908 is when puzzles become a full-blown craze in the United States, not only for adults, but for kids too. They make all kinds of puzzles. I started working on puzzles for the first time when I was just a kid. I used to have a little Sesame Street puzzle, and I would put that thing together all of the time. Of course, it helped with the outlines because it was for kids, but it got you used to working on puzzles. Nowadays, they make puzzles 500 pieces, 1,000 pieces, 2,000 pieces. And it's so exciting when you get a piece, when you finally find a piece that fits. Woo! Something very satisfying about that. In 1933, during the Great Depression, puzzles soared. The sales soared at 10 million per week. That was the peak popularity of puzzles. That's what was affordable for people back then. That was something that could give people something to do. You would think that back in 2020, when COVID happened, puzzles would rise again, and maybe they did. But it's a great way to introduce yourself or to entertain yourself. You don't really need a physical, tangible puzzle anymore, although that's the one I would prefer, but you can do puzzles on your phone. Why do we love puzzles, folks? It makes us happier. Studies show that people who participate in solving puzzles just have higher levels of happiness and in some cases, relaxation. Puzzles serve as a sense of accomplishment, not just in a personal sense, but in a group sense. The feeling of completing the final few pieces of the puzzle is priceless. I haven't put together a puzzle in a long time, but I feel like if I put together a puzzle, I'm framing that. I'm not taking it apart. No, the puzzle is going up on a wall. I'm framing it. Most people do, because they couldn't stand to just see their hard work just crumble up in little pieces. And would anybody ever believe you if you said you put it together? I guess they would if you took a picture. But a lot of people, when they put together puzzles, it took them 2 months to do, and as soon as they're done with it, they just throw it back in the box. It's interesting. And also, it's just a great way to stimulate your mind. Puzzles, they stimulate your brain. It improves your number and problem-solving skills while keeping your brain active. It's a great way, I believe. Now, I'm no doctor, but I feel like that puzzles are a great way to help with avoiding Alzheimer's, dementia, because it keeps your mind working. You want your brain to give up on you? Stop using it. How do you use your brain? Well, a good way to use your brain is to do a puzzle. It's simple. It doesn't require a lot out of you. It doesn't require any physical exercise, but it is a big mental exercise, and that's exactly what you need your brain to be doing if you want to keep your brain working. So happy National Puzzle Day to everybody out there, and go and work on a puzzle. Folks, that pretty much wraps up another episode of Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. If you liked what you heard today, you'll probably like our previous episodes. We archived them all on podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you stream your favorite podcast. We release new episodes every Thursday from 4 to 5 right here on WLXU 93.9 FM. You can follow the show on social media at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. You can follow me, the show host, on social media at The Adam Banks. I will be back same time, same place. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the King of Radio, Adam Banks, and this is Off the Cuff. I'll catch you down the road. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you later.